Alright, this here is going to help you out with your homework, which will include sorting, dynamic arrays, dynamic array of classes, and using random variables. So to begin with, I did comment out the random portion. I'm going to show you first off how to create the class. This class student is, as it says here, the most basic because it only has one number in there. The constructor is very basic. There is no overloaded constructor, and even this basic one does not initialize anything, which it should initialize number, but for this example I left it empty. I created two functions here, one to get the num, which will return the number back to the main, and set num, which is going to get a value from main and have this guy equal that value. So it's a very simple class. Down here I also created a num variable, which is going to help us with the dynamic arrays portion. How many numbers do you want to sort? Cin num. Therefore, the input that I get from the user is going to be the size of the arrays. This is how you set up an array of numbers. So it's going to be an int array as a pointer equals new int and the number of elements that I want this array to contain. It would be the exact same way to create an array of objects. So here I put student pointer s equals new student num. So both of these, for example, if I had 10 as num, both of these are of size 10. Here are the numbers of the array. Simply, I cout array of x. I used this loop in order to not only initialize the values for my object, for my array, but I'm also outputting the contents of the array, which is why I put this right before. So to initialize my object, I put the name of the object, the element I'm currently working with, which is at 0, dot set num, so I'm going to set something inside there, and the values that I'm going to pass are numbers from 0 to 9. I do the exact same thing for the array of x. So both the object and the array have random numbers. Now, since these two are both calling random at different times, those numbers are different. Cout array of x, okay, end L, so that I could go to the next line and display the next sentence. The following numbers are from the class. Now I cannot put this here inside this loop because then it would be basically mixing up the numbers, so I had to put this outside. Wow, look at all that. Okay, so I have the sorting section. Whenever you sort, you have to create a temp variable. I do not want you to be using the sort function, which is already available for you. I want to see you actually sorting by using a temp variable. Now, since I am working with integers, I simply created an int temp. If I were to be trying to sort objects, then I would possibly create something. Okay, so I create a temp variable of the object, which you can do the same. You could treat it the same. But on here, instead of swapping elements, you're swapping the entire object. an example of that would be down here to where temp equals s of y. Sorry, not temp. Temp 1. S of y. Okay, so if I were to swap the objects inside here, that's how you swap objects. What I'm doing on this one down here is different. Let me first explain this array sorting, which will be similar to this one. Alright, so here I am using something which I like to call bubbleish sort. It's not bubble sort, and I don't want to put bubble sort here because it technically would give you the answer to your homework. So I would like for you to look it up and use the way that it's supposed to be coded. So it does not use 2 for loops. And even this is inefficient. Basically it's going from 0 all the way to num, and from 0 all the way to num minus 1. The reason it's minus 1 is because I always look 1 ahead. Therefore, it needs to be 1 less, or else I'm going to get array out of bounds. So yes, this is my version, bubbleish sort. It almost sorts the same way, except the true bubble sort is a lot more efficient. Okay, so here, if the first element is bigger than the second element, it's going to swap. And how it's going to swap is the value inside array of y goes to temp, array of y will get the value of array of y plus 1, and array of y plus 1 equals to temp. This is almost identical, and this is working with objects. But here's the way I wrote this one. Temp equals s of y dot get num. So I'm getting the value of the object. S of y dot set num, so I'm going to set the value of s of y, and the thing that I'm going to put in there is s of y plus 1 dot get num. Okay, finally inside s of y of 1, I'm going to set the value to temp. So this is a little complicated, but just wanted to know that you can work with functions. Especially I wanted to show you this line here to where you can have a function and a function inside the argument. Okay, so this is only for the array. This is for the object. At this point, all the numbers should be sorted. All that's left is to display. This is the sorted array. A simple going through there up to num, display the array of x with a space and L. Almost copy paste. Display s of x dot get num. And that's the entire program. Let's see how it looks when I run it. Let's make 10 numbers. Alright, so here's the first array. And the solution to the array is 0, 1, 2, 4, 4. So it's got 2 4s. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. So there are no 9s. Okay, so this array and this array are the same. This one and the first one. The next one are the numbers from the class. So this here with the last line, as you can see, there are 3 1s. 1, 2, 3. 2, 4, 5, 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is working. Now the reason why I commented out the random is because if you'll notice, I'll look at the first one first. 704. If I run the code again, 10 numbers, 704. Run the code again. If I change it, it gives us the same numbers. 704. $20. 704. So it's always going to be giving you the same numbers. you might notice these first 10 are the ones that were in my previous first array. And the next ones would be following that, I believe, 9-4. Okay, it's slightly different because it's going into the object. That brings us to here. I include time.h, which is going to go into the system clock, and I'll be able to use this here, which will seed our random, and it's going to use the time function available from time.h. If I were to run this and use 10, 5077, run it again with 10, 0873. So each time that you run it, it's going to give you a different value. The only thing you have to remember is you have to run it only once. You cannot be, well, you technically can, but the main purpose is to seed it only once, and usually it's done at the start. So I do it right after I declare the main. I set it there so I don't have to set this code anymore throughout my whole program. And I do believe that's everything. Be aware that when I am sorting here, I'm comparing these two values, the getNum and getNum. Now, if I am going to sort string values, it would be the same thing. Fortunately for us, C++ is able to compare two strings and figure out which one should go first, using the same operator here. And when you sort, it would simply be, instead of int temp, it would be string temp, which I did not declare string at the top, but if quite possibly the object has a lot of different data, such as if instead of only having number, it has a, okay, let's just say it has a social security number. The way I have it sorted here would give me a lot of incorrect information because I am technically swapping the numbers of different students. So if a student had social security number 1 and their number is number 7, the program, when it sorts at the end, might have social security number 1 with a different number. So you never want to sort only a single item inside of an object. You always want to sort the entire object. Therefore, the way it's written here is not the right way to do it. It's possible to do it this way, but when you're trying to sort objects based on all the data in there, you want to make sure that all the data stays together. So this here was the actual way to sort. Okay. In this case, since I have it as a class student, you do not need to declare a string temp if you wanted to sort names, for example. I do believe this does explain everything that's required for the assignment. So if there are any questions, make sure you let me know on Blackboard. Thank you.